So if the levels are good, Dave, I'm ready to go into the pro tip.
Great. Let me do the welcome real fast. Here we go. Hey guys, welcome to another exciting episode of CTA Live. I am Dave Curley, and if we haven't met and you don't know what CTA Live is, I will tell you. CTA Live is the live show and the podcast for the Church Training Academy. That's churchtrainingacademy.com, and that is where we have assembled a group of people that are learning how to use and exploit media and technology in order to fulfill the Great Commission. That's what we're here to do, is to use all this great, wonderful stuff that we have right here at our fingertips in order to share the gospel. That's what we do. And with me, as always, every single week, except when he's not, Mr. Justin Nava. How you doing there, buddy?
What's up, guys? I am good. I am finally, I think, caught up on sleep from all the Christmas travels. I did the math. We were driving for 36 hours over 2 weeks of Christmas travels all over Texas.
Did you log the miles? Did you keep a running odometer?
No, I did an estimation based on how many miles I know it is from city to city. So I can't remember what it was. I'll have to do the math again, but it was about 36 hours, I guess an average of 60 miles per hour, whatever that comes out to be.
Math.
You do the math on your own.
Yeah. A bunch. That's what you're saying is a bunch.
A lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, each week we try to bring you a pro tip, sort of a tip, a hack, something to help make your life and your job maybe a little more efficient, a little better, bring a little sunshine into your day. And I believe my buddy has something all set up and ready for today. Am I correct there?
That's right. Yeah. So today our pro tip is a book called PR Matters, and it's by our friend Justin Dean. And let me see if I can tag him in there. There we go. That's our pro tip for the day, is this book right here. I don't think I have a video monitor. I do right here. PR Matters. I hope it's straight on your end. This is an amazing book. It came out last year, and if you hang out sometimes, there's a way to get it for free from Justin through other resources, but I really honestly wouldn't wait for that. I would get the book. It is approximately 220 pages of public relations goodness, and I'm going to kind of sum it up for you here. PR matters because it matters what people say about our churches, about your church. And so public relations is not, sometimes we hear that in business and say, oh, they're just trying to spin something, something bad happened and they're calling it a feature, or something bad happened and they're saying, no, we meant to do that. And that's not exactly what public relations is. Public relations is influencing, controlling, and maintaining how people perceive your church. So in this book is all about how to prepare for things that happen in your church, how to get messaging out. There's a lot of marketing stuff in here too, like social media, planning, and organization. And really it comes down to, there will come a day when something bad happens in your city or in your church, and you need to be prepared on how to respond to it. And one of the, I actually interviewed Justin with my previous podcast, Church Marketing School, and I actually gave him PR disasters, and he kind of responded to. It's one of the shows we have in limbo. Like, if just one day we both get the flu, we're going to play that as a backup. But Justin Dean knows what he's talking about, and he's lived through this stuff and how to prepare for this. So, things happen, like, someone says something bad about the pastor, and whether that's true or not, your church needs to respond. Something bad happens in the city. Maybe there's a shooting in your city. How is your church going to respond? Are you going to just lay low and wait for things to pass over? Or are you actually going to respond? Or something bad may happen, like your church may catch on fire. I have a very good friend, Evan Duncan, whose church burned down. And it was a terrible thing, but are you prepared for if that would happen? Or if there's a flood in the sanctuary, say a pipe breaks, right? It's not just about public relations in the city, but also with your people. Like, if your pipe breaks on Saturday afternoon, how are you going to get the word out? What's the plan to communicate that, hey, we can't have church and service right now because the altar is 3 feet underwater? So that's what all this is about. Now, my favorite part, the thing that makes it a pro tip, it's more than a book, is it actually comes with a bunch of templates that you can use to quickly get started. So it's got like a photography release form that you can use and just give to your ministries, because we're supposed to have those. especially for kids ministries, right? You're not allowed to take pictures of kids without parents' consent. So the form is in here. All you have to do is, it actually comes with a digital copy too. All you have to do is copy that and give it to your ministry and say, hey, every year when you sign medical release forms, slip this in there. It's got a social media planner and guide, and it just kind of lays out, this is kind of what you should be posting on social media. This is what we see works. And this is how to control things like, public relations, putting out good images out there, because that's great. You have a ministry that feeds the homeless every month. Newspapers aren't going to report about it unless you give them a reason to. So ways to collect stories and share that, person interest pieces with news outlets, how to network with the people around town, network with not only with news, but with bloggers. If there's a mommy blog in your town, no matter how big or small, it'd be really good to start that relationship, and maybe you can, do some partnerships down the road, and where they can give you publicity, and then you can bring them in because they know something that you don't, and can help your church. And then the last thing is a crisis management planner. So this is where you take common scenarios like we talked about before. Someone says something bad about the pastor, whether it's true or good, there needs to be a response, because it just looks bad if you just kind of hang out. And how to handle even press releases is in here. So this is a great book, and it's actually inspired me. One of the things I want to do at my church, because we are a committee-driven church, is I actually want to create a public relations committee and plan out some of these things. Plan out if there's a pipe leaking, if something happens at the building, how are we communicating that? If something bad happens in the town of Edinburgh, if there's a school shooting, or if there's a train falls off the rails and is really bad and impacts the city, how are we going to respond? How are we going to get there? Because that kind of thing can be planned ahead of time. It's one of those things where you pray it won't happen, but you plan that it might. Like we were talking about last week with the damage mitigation with owning your own platform. So that's my tip of the week. I got the digital version and the book version, and actually got mine signed too by Justin Dean with his little catchphrase there: "Stay salty." Matthew 5:13. So that's my pro tip. And next week I'm gonna release a book review for it on Church Training Academy, and you can pick it up there too.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, he's really good, and he's a good guy to know. All right, so today we are talking about doing your church event.
Yep.
Right, promoting it right, and like I if you guys got my email right before we were going live, I laid out the scenario where you've gotten the event planned and everything is set up and you're ready, and you sort of slip in an announcement right there in the middle of your litany of church announcements that you do from the stage that most people end up forgetting about, and then you put something in the bulletin with a picture of people doing something fun, and you say something about it and put the time and the date and all that, and then the event's ready and you open up the gates and everything's wonderful, and there's like a dozen people that show up, and that's out of like a church of like 700, and the bounce house is sitting there collecting dust, and it just looks sad. So how do we not do that, dude?
Yeah, so church event planning comes down to one thing. Can you guess? It's planning.
PR. Oh.
Okay? And it's tough. It's really tough to start. We've done the same. You've done an Easter hunt every year, and you're kind of like, just people expect it. Well, the matter is, your city might not know about it. New members of your church might not, and visitors might not know about it. So, say you get one new family every couple months. Well, you might have 4 or 5 visiting your church that would like to know about it, but you just haven't told them about it because, it just happens. It happens like Sunday morning. That's not exactly the best way. And actually, we're going to go a little bit deeper.
Okay.
And I'm going to say that church event planning is not a one-time thing. When I plan Easter 2018 for my church, and we carry it out, we execute whatever we're doing, we're not just stopping when the event starts. We're actually going to continue planning during the event and post-event to get ready for Easter 2019. That's the secret, and that's the key ingredient that many churches that I've worked with are missing, is planning stops when the event starts, or even planning stops the day before, or when registration's closed, we're going to stop promoting this now, or stop worrying about it, especially if it's like a simulcast and you have to have tickets 2 months in advance. So you close and then you just don't do anything else. And then it's like, oh, hey ladies, by the way, tomorrow's the simulcast. And you're like, everyone's like, what? I forgot about that. I bought my tickets. Anyways. Okay. I'm rambling. So let's get into it. We're going to break it down into 3 separate segments. There's pre-event planning, and we're all really good at that. So we'll kind of blow past that. There's lots of resources for that. Then there's during the event planning, and this is where you really set yourself up for success the following year. And then there's post-event planning. So really quick, let's hit the pre-event, and I'm going to hit more of the communication stuff, and Dave, you're going to hit more of the video audio stuff.
Sure.
So I'll go ahead and start this off with pre-event planning. We won't get into too much details because a lot of people know what we're talking about. You got your typical stage announcements, right? Usually everything starts on the stage. So let's say we're planning for Easter 2018. We're going to have a family breakfast. We're going to have a service, and then we're going to have an Easter egg hunt afterwards. So let's use that as a demo because actually we should be starting to plan Easter right now. So it's April 1st this year too. So you can do a lot of fun stuff.
Easter is April 1st, really?
Yeah, I think it is April 1st this year.
All right.
Yeah, it's gonna lead to interesting things. If you didn't know that, you're behind the ball. You should at least know when Easter is when the year turns around.
Well, and that's perfect because it's like, Jesus died and all that, and then he comes popping out on April 1st. April Fools! I didn't really die.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm back.
I'm back. Okay, so pre-events. Usually in most churches, and I'm fine with this, a lot of things start from the stage, especially the big announcements. You want to cast the vision from a leader in the church. So, hey guys, pastor goes up. This Easter is going to be a lot of fun. We're planning a family breakfast. Your typical stage announcement we talked about with Adam McLaughlin, who's actually in the chat. So started off with a stage announcement. That's fine. That's typical. That's usually what happens. Then you might roll into, as the months come along, you might roll into things like email. You might roll into things like social media, but don't stop there with just an email promotion or just a social media graphic, right? Don't just put pictures of Easter eggs and say, hey guys, we hope we see you Easter. There's a lot of interesting and good things you can do on social media, on Facebook and YouTube, particularly with Facebook Live. Dave, you want to go into some Facebook Live ideas for pre-event promotion?
Yeah, I think with Facebook Live, I think a good portion. We talk about this in the live streaming for churches, the Easy Way workshop, and we talk about this in the book and all that. And it's using Facebook Live as a window into what's going on. So, if you're doing pre-event stuff, if you're having some of the meetings where people are like just brainstorming some ideas or something like that, doing a little Facebook Live from in there where maybe you can have some people in the chat room that are throwing out a few ideas, so you got the committee and they're going over some of this. Now let's talk about what we're going to do. Are we going to have like a little carnival as a part of it? Okay. So what should we have at the carnival? And you get some input from people that are not on the committee, but they may have some really good ideas. You can also do stuff while you're getting geared up for it. So earlier in the week, if you are doing a carnival or if you are doing something that's going to be taking some creation of stuff, whether you're putting together the dunking booth, all this kind of stuff, doing a little Facebook Live from there is showing a little slice of life going on at the church that people don't see. It's just they pull into the parking lot and stuff is set up, or they pull into the parking lot and there's like 1 million eggs laying in the field next to the church or something. When you're doing the egg stuffing party, do a Facebook Live from that. Just have someone walking around and check out the silliness, and as people make fun of the person who eats 2 of the kisses and then puts 1 in the egg. It's like, we're not going to have enough Hershey's Kisses. What's the matter with you? Doing stuff like that, again, is showcasing the culture of your church that people don't see unless they're a part of that committee or a part of that group. They just sort of come, pull in the parking lot, get out, and it's all done for them. And so this sort of shows the effort that's going into it, the fun that people can have being a part of this, so you can actually maybe drive up some volunteers for future events and stuff. And it lets other people get an idea of what the people at the church are like beyond just a Sunday morning or a Wednesday night Bible study.
Exactly. And then you might have a few other promotion items that your church does really well, or that your church expects to be communicated. So you might do small group announcements. You might tell your small group leaders, hey, don't forget to speak about this. You might do flyers. You may have something that you've always done that is just kind of ingrained in your folks, like a bulletin announcement, obviously, if you have a bulletin. But those are just some ideas that you can use. I really like Facebook Live, and using Facebook social media to do a little bit more than just a graphic, right? So the preparing, show the intentionality, because if there's just an Easter hunt that you do every every year, I might not care. But if I see a post about 5 women intentionally planning, preparing the eggs, and I don't even know, dude, it might be a little cheesy, but do an interview like we choose the best candy because we don't want our kids to get cheap Mexican candy that no one likes,
Yeah, no
we get a lot
circus
of that down
peanuts
here in
here.
the valley. But we actually buy the name brand good candy because that's how much we care about our kids. Hey, I'm more inclined to go to that, right? Because I know I'm going to get a piece.
Yeah, it's not going to be that little weird Neapolitan thing.
Yeah, you can turn anything into you can turn any story into an announcement, and just even just seeing that kind of story kind of makes me see the intentionality and see that this isn't going to be something that's just kind of thrown out there. It's actually something that you care about.
And
so
that's those things that you're doing, like in that little Facebook Live deal.
Go ahead.
You can take those and then make them a part of next week's announcement. Showing the prep or something like that. As you make the announcement, you can also tell a story, show a video of this person, insisting on good, high quality candy. I mean, little stuff like that. It brings more interactivity into the worship service as well, and will stick it and cement it in people's minds, like we talked about back when we were talking with Adam about making them laugh or giving them something to grab onto besides just a who, what, where, and when.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Justin Dean just joined the Facebook. What's up, Justin?
Hey, man.
We do a pro tip every week, and this week was your book, PR Matters. That's why we tagged you, in case you're wondering, like, oh, what's going on in here? No, we're not talking bad about you. We're talking very good about you. So that's pre-event. That's something that I think a lot of churches at least have an awareness of. Mm-hmm. But what I really want to go into today is the during the event and post-event, because that's going to help you plan for next year. And now during the event, that's mostly going to be kind of your area, Dave. But basically, it's sharing what's going on as it's happening.
Right.
This is not just for social media. You can send an email. Hey guys, it's day 3 of VBS. Here's some pictures. Go to our Facebook to see more info. But share some pictures over email. Share your Facebook post pictures, post Facebook Live of what's going on. Interview people as it's happening. So, for example, in our example, Easter breakfast service and the after church egg hunt. What pops in your mind? What are some Facebook Live opportunities or video opportunities that pop into your mind when we're kind of going through this event as it's happening?
One of the things at a previous church is we used to do a sunrise service, and we would do a sunrise service out at the AAA ballpark. This is when I was living in Austin and Round Rock area. So we'd go out to the Dell Diamond and we would do a sunrise service. And Reed Ryan, Nolan Ryan's son, was a big part of that. He owned the facility and all that. But he would be a part of that. So one of the things that I would do is starting that day is I would do a live stream of the thing, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Just turn on the phone, stick it on a tripod with a little clip or something, and just do a live stream from there. So that as people are waking up and checking their Facebook as they're getting ready and whatever, they would see that notification. And that's something that can live on your church's Facebook page well beyond doing it. I would also have someone at the event throughout the day or whatever, going around and, like you said, interviewing people, showing stuff. If the kids are having a potato sack race, be live streaming that, doing all this. But I would also have a couple of people that are just running around shooting footage and gathering things that can then be processed and polished and all that and used later in the week or the next week, kind of recapping the event in starting the preparation for the next year. You've got this pool of media that you can then start using to promote, when the next one comes around, whether it's a regular kind of a quarterly event or something really special, kind of building up that library of stuff that you now can draw from, so you're not having to get stock images from Bill and Ted's Excellent stock website. You've actually got your faces, your people, your smiling kids, your giggling kids, stuff like that.
Exactly. A lot of that's going to come during the event. You want to get as much media as you can. And really, I guess part of pre-event too is to find those volunteers and say, hey, can you take pictures? Can you, to do video or whatever. Right. One of the coolest things I did in my last church was I actually created and now they're called street teams, but back then I called it like the lay photographer team. And it was basically, we had three
The
cameras at
lame
the church.
photographer team. What'd you say?
Yeah, street team is a much better flow to it. But basically, it was average people. They did not know anything. I did not give them a DSLR. I gave them a Canon point and shoot camera, and I said, I don't want you to go around taking pictures. I want you to just take pictures as you're attending the event. So they were not there to take pictures. They were just happened to take pictures while they were there. And so find people like that you know are going to go to the event and say, hey, can you just snap some pictures? Don't give them a fancy camera. Tell them to use their phone. You can use your phone now. Back then, they weren't there yet.
Right.
And just say, can you just snap some pictures, post it in the Facebook group or whatever, or PM them to whatever.
There's
you can do that during. And then so that way during, you're getting pictures from all types of angles and from all different types of people.
Right.
So you're not relying on one person to get the right shot, but you have a few others that can get it for you too.
Right. There's an app, and I cannot remember it off the top of my head. And if I go looking for it, then I'm going to take your face off the screen. But there's an app that we have used for the last several years for Disciple Now Weekend and other events like that basically lets you make a group of people, and then people take pictures and do videos and stuff, and all of them get put into this one container in the cloud, so that the person who's going to do the highlight video or whatever just sort of has this pool of media that just keeps growing over the course of the weekend. I can't remember. We will put a link down in the show notes, and we'll release a link to it in the podcast and the blog post and all that. But it's really cool because like all the kids install it on their phones. The parents, the host homes, the youth workers, all this, everybody has it on their phones, and it's like, here's the event, and they choose, Disciple Now 2018, and that's the event that they are now going to be submitting stuff to. So when they take a picture, it obviously goes to their camera roll and goes into their thing, but it also gets added to this cloud pool of stuff, which is, it makes it seamless. It's almost dumb not to do this. It's like, I don't want to, it makes it so easy to gather things to promote your materials. You have to like not want to let anybody ever know you did anything in order to fail at doing this. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. Yeah, I've been just creating a group for every event and telling people to dump their photos in there because everyone knows how to use Facebook. But that app, I've never heard of it. That sounds awesome. I want to know what that is. I can't wait. You're going to tell me whenever you find it. And I'm not going to wait till Tuesday when the show goes.
Great. You're going to be bugging me all week now.
The other thing you can use, we're still experimenting with it, but it is a growing platform, is stories, more specifically Instagram stories. So as things are going on, just snap a picture, post it to Instagram stories. If you're using Instagram, Facebook has their own stories platform, but it's hard to get. I've found that people aren't checking it yet like they are Instagram. So just post things that as they're coming up, pictures of kids playing, video of kids playing, post images as they're happening. Now, don't spam your page wall with pictures, like 3 picture posts a day. Consolidate them into one. Do 1 post a day with multiple pictures. This is especially important for Instagram because then you're going to clog up people's feeds with individual pictures, and that's frustrating for them. So make sure you consolidate everything into 1 or 2 posts a day. I recommend 1, and then you have stories as a backup to just throw everything in there because it disappears after 24 hours. So that's during the event. So that's really important because you're gathering stories to share. This is actual, Pam's having a lot of fun because her kid just got out of the hospital and this is her first day outside. Here's a picture of her. You can post that in the moment. You can post live stuff during the moment. So we have the planning done. The event is done. We have this. If we did the during the event, media capture and streaming. Now we have this conglomerate. I don't know if that's the right word. Conglomerate of footage.
Amalgamation. That's a good word.
An amalgamy of a plethora of footage.
Yeah.
And now we need to actually do something with that. And this is where we are especially kind of get distracted because it's Easter's done. Now we got summer events. Let's start preparing that. But wait. We're not done with Easter. Okay. You can do this in a couple of hours. I like to just knock it out the day after. Post event, you need to actually intentionally archive your footage that you have. Now, I don't mean grab copies of everything and keep it on a hard drive. You don't have to do that, but that's probably easiest. Dave, you probably got some stuff about that, but let me kind of what I do after the event is done is I intentionally actually get all of the stuff that I have, the memory cards. I get the posts that we did and make sure I have backups of those posts or videos. But also, if you are, hopefully you're on social media along with your church, is actually go to your Facebook friends that are church members or Instagram feeds that are church members and see what they posted, because they may have posted their own pictures that you don't know about. They may have posted their own stories or pictures that of their kids or their family. You want to go ahead and archive those too. So what I do is I'll actually go through church members, their social feeds, and I'll look at the last couple of days. And if they have pictures from our event that they didn't tag us in, and I don't know about it, do a quick comment or shoot them a message and say, hey, I really like that video you posted of Denise playing in the field. Can I have a copy of that for church promotion purposes? And if they say yes, hopefully they send it to you and you have all the right paperwork, whatever. But that's one thing that we often forget. So don't leave it at just your stuff. Also go and curate things that your other church members already have. So as far as archiving the stuff that you do have, what do you do, Dave? Like if I have all this footage, but I know I'm not going to use it for another 10 months. What's the best thing to do with it?
I prefer to have like on-site storage for stuff like that. And network attached storage, something that the staff members can all have access to, a shared volume. I really, really promote, tell people if you're looking for something, get a Drobo. I've got 3 of them sitting in here. I use them for my own media. I use one for my own projects and all that sort of stuff. What's so cool about the Drobo is it's a multi-drive system that, like I've got one sitting right here that connects via FireWire. They're also network attached as well. But I've got 5 drives in there, and what's cool is the way it does this. They call it like Super RAID or something like that, Beyond RAID, whatever it is, which is like really getting geeky. But they take the information, they spread it across all the drives in there, and then they put stuff in there so that basically if one of the drives fails, you can just pull that drive out, throw it away, slap in a drive of the same size or greater size, and it will, start spreading that data back out over that drive. So if you have like one that has like 5 1 terabyte drives and it's like we're running out of space, we got to have more space, you can like pull one of them out and drop a 4 terabyte drive in there, and then once it's all reallocated, pull another one out and drop. And so you can like grow this thing to like, ridiculous levels. They made these things like in 2010 or 2009, and at that time, they could max out at like 16 terabytes of space, and beyond that, they've got ones. We got one at the church that's like 8 drives in it, and good Lord, we could have like 32 terabytes or something like that, something ridiculous of storage. So you can make that available on your network, and the staff can then start dumping things to it. And you can just have a folder for each event, simple file system. Here's the year, and then in each year there's an event listed, and there's the footage, video footage and images, and then use something like Adobe Media Browser. It's like one of those tools that's part of the Adobe kit that a lot of people don't even really think about or know about. You don't ever hear anything really discussed about it, but it's brilliant because you just point it at a drive and then it goes in and indexes stuff, and then you can go in and put all the metadata. You could take every single image in there having to do with Easter 2018, and you could add the tag Easter 2018, and then you could also add the tag Easter. So now it's like, I need something from Easter, Easter egg hunt. Okay, so I need something from Easter egg hunt. So I do a search for that tag, and then 5 years worth of things that are tagged Easter egg hunt start showing up, and it's like, that's the picture I want, that little smiling face. It's really cool to do. Beyond doing something like that, then you can use something like Google Photos and have people submit stuff to Google Photos, and you're talking like a terabyte worth of cloud storage for $9 a month or something. And the church can, you can get a lot. For $100, you can get some ridiculous amount of storage, and then just start sharing folders and having people, put it all out there. And now you've got this redundant backup in the cloud that people can access remotely, and do creative, while they're on vacation or whatever. So some really cool options out there.
Yeah, ideally you would have the RAID backup.
Yeah.
Not even backup, the RAID archiving on site. Remember that there's a difference. Just because you have something on a hard drive somewhere else, it's not a backup if it's your only copy.
Right.
It's your archive.
I kind of go with the axiom that if it doesn't exist until it exists in like 3 places, and ideally 4. So, the card that you shot it on, cards are cheap. If it's something really, really important, just archive that card away in a drawer somewhere. And then the copy that you're working on locally, and then a copy that's on like a network attached device, and then ideally a copy of it kept in your Carbonite account or Crash Plan account or something like that. Yeah.
Yep. So so file it away in an intentional place. Don't just say, "Oh, it's in my pictures folder and I'll remember it." You won't remember it next year. You won't. I've lived that life.
Yeah, totally.
And I'm like, where are those Easter pictures?
That brings up something. I'm a stickler about filing stuff, and I suffered from not doing it properly because I shot a whole bunch of stuff at a workshop that we're doing, and I was going to use that to replace the stock footage that we're using on the church's website. And for the life of me, I accidentally deleted it, and I was like, okay, well, there's a backup of no, there's not. Nope, dang it, nope. I didn't follow my own rules, so I'm going to put together a little workshop or a little tutorial or something like that about some good file keeping habits and stuff. That if people will be intentional with that, here's how I do it. And if you're intentional with it, then you can lessen the problem of where did I put this thing?
Yeah, I think that would be a good pro tip this year. Okay, so intentionally file away your footage. Archive it to where in 10 months, you or someone else knows I can go get it from here. Now, network storage is ideal. Cloud storage, okay. Definitely don't do it on your own computer, especially if it's the only one. Put it somewhere that's public, not public, but that is internally available for any of your staff. Let me go quickly because we're kind of running out of time.
Yes, please.
Post-event, within a week or 2 after the event, intentionally collect testimonials from people that went to the event. So maybe for Easter, just collect something from someone that came to the church for the first time, or maybe for the 5th time in 5 years because they only come on Easter. Make an intention to come out, call them back, and say, "Hey, what'd you think about Easter?" "Oh, I loved it. It was great." "Okay, great. I'm collecting video testimonials. Would you be willing to have lunch with me? And then we'll film a quick. The key is lunch.
Yeah.
Have a free lunch with me, and then film a quick testimonial of what you thought. You're going to get some no's, but that one yes is worth it. And then you have a video about someone that came to church for Easter and found community, found family. I thought the family breakfast I'd have to eat by myself, but I had like 5 people come eat with me. It was awesome. And I learned about Steve's past. I got to meet Jill's daughter or whatever. And so, collect intentional testimonials and then post those. You can post them up to a week or 2 after. It's still kind of relevant.
Absolutely.
This is especially important for things like discipleship now, summer camp, small group getaways, camp out, men's camp out or something like that. Intentionally collect those testimonials, and then you can play them again the following year for promotion.
And you should archive those as well so that they are available to be used in other promotional material on the website. You can have someone, if you're doing a promo video for the church or something, you can have people at this event talking about it and at this event talking about it and all this. And you can also have someone that is tasked with at the event just go around and do that. I mean, you and I see that, and we've done it at trade shows where we're at a conference or something, and there's that one guy who's going around and pulling someone out in the hallway and getting a quick clip. I mean, I've made thousands of dollars doing those videos for trade shows and conferences and stuff. So, you can do that at the event as well and have post-event wrap-up and pre-event stuff for next year and all that. It's really good.
Exactly. And then just a couple things that you can do afterwards. We're getting a little bit away from the media, but it's super important because it impacts the media, is to do an after-action report. And this is basically where you ask yourself, what went well, what didn't go well, and what can I change for next year? That's my simple 3 questions. You can go a lot more detailed into that, but this is going to help you iterate for next year. So what went well? I had 3 photographers taking photos and videos, and that was great. What didn't go well? I didn't have a great way to get the media from them, and I got it too late, or I missed some pictures. So I know next year I'm going to write it down. Make a document inside of your media folder and where you're keeping your stuff. Say after action report. What didn't go well? I didn't have a good way to get get the ingest from my volunteers. So, next year you can look at that. Oh, I remember that. Let me plan that out now. That way my photo volunteers, when they come back, I don't have to harass them to get the pictures. So, so what works well, what didn't work well, and how can I change that to make it work well? So 3 simple questions, make a doc, and then you'll also know, oh, last year I remembered to give my volunteers cameras. So let me make sure I have those again this year. That'll help you remember those things, so you're not remembering things last minute or just plain not forgetting it. Public is actual survey attenders. So actually survey your members. When you came in for Easter, did everything promoted meet your expectations? Maybe you promoted a family breakfast and you said you're going to have pancakes, and then someone came in and you didn't have enough pancakes. So that person's kind of like, I feel like I got stiffed because I came, so you kind of, in the communications aspect, you're going to learn from your members. Did you promote it correctly? Or maybe someone says, I didn't hear about it from the church. I heard about it from a friend. Well, okay, well, how would you have heard about it? And then also, what did we not promote that surprised you? So maybe someone says, I didn't know the Easter bunny was going to be there. If I had known that, I would have brought my camera. So maybe that's something you should promote. Or maybe they say, I didn't know the Easter bunny was going to be there. That was a nice surprise. That's a little bit of the over delivery that you want. So you survey your members. Don't survey anyone. Don't do a Survey Monkey and say, hey, go to this site, and everyone, just select a few people, select a family, select a single person, select an over 60 persons, and kind of just intentionally ask them some questions about how you did communicating it and sharing it. And some people might say, I love the streams, the live streams. So, next year, lean in, double down on that, get multiple live streams, put something on YouTube that's different from Facebook. I love the pictures of kids. So now, next year, double down on that, double down on your strengths, improve your weaknesses, but really put most of your effort in your strengths. And you'll become the church that's known for live streaming. You're going to be the best church on the block. And that someone knows that if they want to belong somewhere, they can check out your church first, because everything's online, everything's being streamed. That's even longer down the road. But that's event planning. Archive your footage, testimonials afterwards, do an after action report, and survey select members intentionally to find out where you might be where you might have a blind spot of where you didn't perform, or where you performed well, and you can double down on that the following year. Dave, you got anything else to add to that?
I would just say that if you have a registration system, or if you have, like when we do our trunk or treat, we sort of put the cars in like a square in the parking lot, and it's a closed off area. And so you come in through an entrance, and we take people's names and email addresses and stuff when we're doing that. Gather that information, because you will have people in the community that have never been there before, and this is their first time coming there. Or maybe they came in and saw the service last week, and then they heard about it and they came. The result that we're looking for is you have a pool of people that you can then send out visitation teams. You can reach out to them, you can market to them, through your email list. You can put them in the first-time visitor, or if you have a sequence that you do for an event, that they came to an event, so they're not a visitor at the church, they visited the event, and you have a special email sequence or something that you send. You want to be able to reach out to these and start cultivating these relationships and developing that know, like, and trust that began with them coming to an event and now is being nurtured into a friendship and relationships, and hopefully a long-term relationship with that body of believers right there.
Absolutely. And that's gonna be something that me personally, I know, Dave, you do a lot of the production. I do a lot of the communication for the insiders. If you're a church training academy insider, which means you're a member, basically, we're going to be talking a lot about follow-up, a lot about communicating with people in that way, where you can do email sequences. And that's super important. The days of watching a car go by and saying, wow, I hope they saw our sign, those days are over. We have their information now. You have their email address. That's permission for you to nurture a relationship. Right. And if they click unsubscribe, if they say stop mailing me, that's fine.
Sure.
But you can go out for a 3 to 5% conversion, what we call a conversion rate in marketing, to get someone to actually make a visit. And that's more than zero, which is what you do if you just let that information sit there.
Right.
So that's it. So we talked a lot about streaming. I have to get out of here, but we talked a lot about streaming, live videos before, during, and even testimonials after. Dave, can you wrap us up and talk about the live streaming, the easy way for churches?
Absolutely.
And I'm going to take off.
Absolutely. Good seeing you, buddy. Yeah, guys, if you have not added live streaming to your ministry, or if you've been thinking about adding live streaming to your ministry, if you've heard the word live streaming and are wondering what it is, anything like that, then I've got a resource for you. It's called Live Streaming for Churches the Easy Way. So if you go to easylivestreaming.com, just leave us your name and your email address, and I will shoot it right over to you. And it's a little book that I've put together that kind of outlines some of the things that you can do with live streaming. There's like 4 modes of live streaming, and we talk about those. 2 of those you can actually get started with like right now and make live streaming a part of your ministry before you ever start live streaming a service or a Bible study and all that. And we actually talk about those in there as well. Setting up desktop mode or broadcast mode, and some of the equipment that you would need and things like that. So go to easylivestreaming.com, grab a copy of that, and I'm actually putting together a little workshop that I will make available to you guys as well that have gotten a copy of that. So live streaming is something that everybody's doing it. People are grabbing their phones, they're doing stuff like that. And one of the things that I believe that we as a church need to do is to reach people online, because that's where a good portion of our communication happens now, is online, whether it's through Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or through a website or through apps or whatever. I mean, good Lord, even Alexa and Google Home now are becoming devices that we can actually minister and reach out to people to. So I would encourage you that if you guys don't have a live streaming ministry, or if you have a fledgling live streaming ministry and you want to take it to the next level and learn what's available and out there and stuff, then go check out easylivestreaming.com, and we can help you guys get started. I hope we've helped you to maybe think about some things that you haven't thought about before. That's one of the things that I like. Some of this I kind of knew in the back of my head, but I hadn't really like articulate it all and stuff, but it all makes complete sense. Once again, Justin knocked one out of the park. So, guys, take what you've learned here, take what we're doing and talking about here on CTA Live and on Church Training Academy, and use it to equip yourselves to go out and change lives. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have an absolutely fantastic week.